Good afternoon, everyone. It is 2 o'clock here on the East Coast. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about the communications in EasyBuilder, Insight Explorer version 4.1. This is session 9 of the course. My name is Ron Duff, and I'm a technical instructor here in Duluth, Georgia, which is where I'm talking to you from today. We're going to start with a short PowerPoint to give you sort of an overview of the communications. And then I have a rather extensive demo that I'm going to go through for you. So let's get started. Again, during this section, we're going to describe how to use communications within EasyBuilder. We're going to go through several different types of communication. Like I said, I'm going to give you a demo. And we're also going to send out X, Y, and angle values to an external device, which is what you would normally send to a robot. So as I said, Insight supports many types of communications, many different protocols. This is for sending and receiving information. You would, in particular for a robot, you would send out, as we saw in the previous slide, X, Y, and angle coordinates normally. You would send out the information either over the Ethernet, or you could send it over DeviceNet, or even serial. You can also send data back to the system. Typical example of that would be a match string. You're looking for a particular text or particular 2D code. You'll see a little bit of that when we go through the demo. The different protocols included, serial, Profinet, DeviceNet, Ethernet IP, TCP/IP, and more. Some of the ways this communication is used, I mentioned robots, PLCs, also used for HMIs, human-machine interfaces, also third-party applications. I have a demo set up where we're going to use OPC and send values out to an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm also going to show you something that's called display control through our SDK, Software Developer Kit. This is something that also would be used for third-party or custom applications. EasyBuilder has made this communication much easier than in previous versions, going back to 3.4. We are now up to 4.1. Again, that's 4.1 with EasyBuilder. And you're going to see in the demo, you go into the application step communications, and on the bottom of the screen is a communication dialog box, which is what you see in the graphic on the upper right here, where you choose the device, PLC, robot, or other. When you select a robot or PLC, there's a list of different manufacturers that will come down. We've already set up basically the communications for those PLCs or robots. Or you can just pick out, you can pick other as a device and format the data any way you'd like. And I'm going to show you that as well. Again, for PLCs, we offer Ethernet IP, DeviceNet, Profinet. And for robots, there's 7 different manufacturers listed there. I won't read all of them to you. And again, you can also use HMI via the OPC server that's included in our software. And you can also ship the information out or send the information out generically over TCP/IP or serial. On the bottom of this graphic, you can see, in addition to the communication drop-down box, to the right of that, you can see a typical format output string. And I'm going to show you how to set that up. You can see that this is serial native protocol. So you also see a tab that says serial port settings to set up for serial communication. So again, under a device, you can choose none, which disables the Ethernet and the serial communication. You can choose PLC. Again, we already have it configured for 3 different manufacturers, the Omron, Siemens, and Rockwell. You could also set it up for others. And we, again, have 7 different manufacturers of robots already preset for you if you were to choose robots. Other, which is what I'm going to show you also today, you can customize the communications and the configurations. And you also have the OPC tags there, which I'll show you as part of the demo. So as you can see in this case, here's a screenshot showing the dialog box communications with other chosen. And keep in mind, other is different than none. None is no communications, no serial, no Ethernet. If you choose other, then you can pick out the protocol of your choice. You can see the list there on your screen. Once you've decided what type of communication you want to establish, the device, the protocol, etc., you saw in a previous screenshot there, the format output data string comes up. In this case, to the right of that, you see a tab that says TCP/IP, where you can configure the TCP/IP. So if you click on format string, you get the format string settings. So the format string dialog box, where you can format the data output, in this case, any way you'd like it. And again, I will show you that as part of the demo. Here, in this case, we're looking at more closely at the format string dialog box. You can see we've already added some along the top there. The leading text, we put it in asterisk, the trailing text and asterisk. The terminators, we have CR plus LF, which is carriage return and line feed. And we also check the box in the top right there, use delimiter. In this case, we're going to put a comma. So basically, the text string we're going to send out in this case is going to start with an asterisk, have whatever data we add, comma, data, comma, etc. Here in the next step, you see that the add button has a red circle around it. And this is where you would go in and decide what type of data do you want to send out. Once you click the add button, you can see a list of all the different tools within your job. In this particular case, they've opened the locator tool, which is your fixture. And you can see in the red box, we're going to choose the fixture angle, fixture X coordinate, and Y coordinate. Again, this is very typical information that you send out to a robot. Now that we've done that, below the add screen, actually one note here on the add screen, notice that the information in the box in the middle is listed X, Y, and angle. Whatever order it shows up in the middle there is what order it's going to be sent. So while you can, when you're in the tool, select multiple entries and bring them over by holding the Shift key, once you bring them in, make sure that you use the move up and move down and move them into the correct order. Otherwise, you'll be sending information in one particular format while the robot or whatever device is picking it up is expecting it in another. Down along the bottom there, in the red box with the arrow next to it, there is our actual string. Again, you can see asterisks, in this case, the X coordinate, comma, the Y coordinate, comma, the angle, asterisks. We set, in this case, the decimal places to 3. So you can see there are 3 digits in each case to the right of the decimal point. For OPC, basically it's a very similar looking dialog box that pops up when you click on the OPC tags button. It shows you a list of all the different information that's available for you to send out, and you choose which you'd like to send out and say OK. Now this, with the OPC, as you'll see in the demo, it doesn't really show you the information here within EasyBuilder. You would have to open the OPC server software. There you can choose the information you've selected, and then from there you pass it on to wherever you need that information. Again, that will be part of the demo shortly. To test your communication, don't forget you need to go online. All of the inputs, outputs, and communication is dead until you click on the online button. But once you have you've configured your format string, also make sure you, in this case, check your TCP/IP settings or your serial settings if you're setting them out serial. Then you have to go online. Once you go online, if you trigger the camera, you should see the information in the data string change. Once you've done that, then you can go out and test the other end. If it's changing here under format string, then you know that EasyBuilder is configured correctly, that you're off to go. Or the EasyBuilder is sending the information. You could still have your TCP or your serial settings set incorrectly. For example, one of the things we use here is HyperTerminal, which is part of Windows. Set up EasyBuilder, make sure you go online, open HyperTerminal, and see if you can receive that information. Now, OPC tags, again, you won't get this particular string to the right of the communication box. For that, you would have to open OPC server to see the data. And again, we have, as you've seen, already configured 3 different PLC manufacturers, or you can customize it any way you like with other. We have 7 different robot manufacturers already set up. Again, you can customize that with other. So now that you have a little bit of an idea of what you're going to be seeing, let's move now into the demo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put Insight Explorer version 4.1 up on the screen. You should have that in front of you now. And you notice on the left, under Application Steps, that I already have the communication step highlighted. By doing that, on the bottom, the communication dialog box has come up, and by default, it's set to none. So if I click on that drop-down menu, first I'll call up PLC. You can see as soon as I do, it's asking me for the manufacturer. I can choose which one of the 3 predetermined manufacturers, or I could choose other and set it up however I'd like. In this case, let's just pick Rockwell. For protocol, again, click on that drop-down box. We have either Ethernet or DeviceNet. I'll choose Ethernet in this case. As soon as I do that, over on the right now, you can see that we're in the Format Output Data tab. You also have the Format Input Data. They look very similar. Here, I'll click on the Input Data tab for you. It looks almost identical. And this would be to go out and establish communication. In this case, since we're on a PLC, input data would most likely be a match string. We want to check text. If we're looking for a particular distance. In the case, right now we're in the output data, and this again we can use to set out any type of results from any of the tools. Well, let me show you. I'm going to click on the Add button. I have a very simple job loaded, as you can see here. We have the job. Under job, we have pass, fail, and the robot angle, XY, and angle XY, excuse me. The locator, which is your fixture. You can see you can choose any of the different results from the locator tool. And I also have a read ID code set up. That is a tool within EasyBuilder. So in this case, we can choose which type of information we want to send out. Let's go into the locator, and we're going to choose the locator or the fixture X. I'm holding the Shift key, Y, and angle information. Oops, put it again. There we go. Angle, X, and Y. I'm going to say OK. Now, along the bottom now, you can see angle, X, Y. Again, make sure that you put it in the data you want, the order that you want to send it. But typically, the data is sent X, Y, and angle. So I'm going to highlight angle, and I'm going to move it down. There. Now you can see that we have it configured in the right format, X, Y, and angle. At this point, I could go click the online button, and the data is already configured the way that a Rockwell PLC expects it. So that's one example. Let's go now under Device and choose Robot. You're going to see it looks very similar. As soon as I clicked on Robot, it's asking me for the manufacturer. There's our different manufacturers. I'm going to choose Motoman in this case. Protocol, let's choose Ethernet. And you can see I've actually already configured this information. In this case, because I chose Motoman, Motoman knows the information it wants. So it's chosen the locator fixture, which is exactly the information, the X, Y, and angle information from the location tool. But we could go in and we could customize it. You can see that same dialog box that you saw previously. Let's quit out of that. In this case, now let's pick Other under Device. So right now I have Device Other, and then I can choose any format that I'd like. I'm going to choose TCP/IP. We have the Format Output String tab. We also, in the background here, you can see the TCP/IP settings. And for TCP/IP, by default, we're going to send out the information on port 3000. That will be information that you'll need on the other end, of course. So I'm going to click back on the Output String, a tab, click Format String. As you can see, I've already configured this. For leading text, I put in asterisks. Trailing text, I put in an asterisk. Terminators, I put in carriage return plus line feed. I clicked the Use Delimiter. I'm going to separate the data with a comma. I've already gone into the Add button, which looks exactly like what you saw previously. And I configured it for the X, Y, and angle information. And down I've said decimal places 2. So if I say OK, along the bottom here is an example of the data or the current data. Again, so it's asterisk, X, comma, Y, comma, angle. And I'm going to now take the camera online by pushing the online button. Do I want to go online? Yes. Now you can see along the bottom the data is in gray, but if you watch carefully, as I trigger the camera, you'll see that information changing. We are connected here to an Insight 5400 here in my office. That may be difficult on your end to see, but it is changing there along the bottom. That is always your first step. That's to make sure that the information is changing and is being sent out. We can, at this point, going to go back out of. Actually, I can't do both two applications at once. So you could, at this point, open up HyperTerminal. Remember to configure in HyperTerminal, you're going to need the IP address of your camera, and you're going to configure it to port 3000. You saw under the TCP/IP settings tab. That's the port that's sending the information out. So if you open HyperTerminal, you put in that information. As you trigger the camera, you would see this information flowing in a HyperTerminal. And now you know that communication is indeed working. Now I'm going to go I'm going to go offline by clicking the online button. And you can see now we're back to where we started. The other tab here on the bottom is your OPC tags. So I'm going to click that button. And again, you see a very similar looking dialog box come up. From here, you can choose information about the job. You can see that I configured this previously. And I configured it so that we could take the job pass and job fail information out so that we could monitor whether the job passed or failed. Clicking on Locator now. You can see that I configured it already to take the X, Y, and angle information from the locator. And under the Read ID Code tool, you can see that I've already configured it to take the code string. Basically, the ID code tool spits out the actual code, and I'm going to take that information and use it on the other end. So that is all set up. I'm going to take the camera online. Yes, I want to go online. Okay, now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to open OPC Server to show you that next step. Again, this is the OPC tags. So I'm going to click now on OPC Server, which I already have open. In this case, you can see OPC Server, I already have it configured. On the left, I chose the Insight 5400 camera here in my office, and I chose the tags that we just configured: job fail, job pass, picture X, Y, angle X, Y, and code string. Now to configure that, I've already configured it, but if you click on this button Here it says Edit Configuration. The Configuration Editor button dialog box opens. You can choose which camera or cameras, plural, that you would like to bring in. And then once you've done that, I'll click on my Insight Micro here, also in my office. Then from there, we could choose which information we wanted to pass on. Now I'm going to just close out of that. No, I don't want to say that, since I've already configured it. And right now, we are all set up. We're connected to the IS5400. We've chosen the OPC tags that we want to pass along. So now I'm going to execute, which is this green arrow here. And already here, under the value, you can see that it's receiving the information from the camera. Now this information, at this point, you could take this information, these tags, OPC tags, and you can actually just use them wherever you need to use them. In the case of Excel, I just took them and I dragged them right into a cell within Microsoft Excel. And let me show you that end. So I've already, at this point, I've configured the format string within EasyBuilder. I have OPC running. Now I'm going to go into Microsoft Excel. You can see I've already created a spreadsheet to take those OPC tags from my 5400. I just drag them into the appropriate box. In this case, I took job pass and dragged it into B2, and so forth. And those are dialogue. Those are active. Unfortunately, I can't open more than one application at a time here, but if I were to trigger the camera, you would see those cameras are live and running. So that's how you use OPC tags. Now, again, there's many different ways there's third-party applications out there that use those OPC tags. I just chose to use Excel, which is what I have here handy on my computer. Okay, so that brings us back over here to the communications PowerPoints. We can also, another bit of communication that I can demonstrate for you is something that requires the SDK, the Software Developer Kit. And with the Software Developer Kit, what you receive are tools. It's not really an application, it's tools. In this case, they're tools that you can use in Visual Basic. So I have Visual Basic running here, so let me switch over. Okay, so you can see now on your screen, you can see that I am in Microsoft Visual Basic 2008. And I have already opened the display control sample assembly, which is part of the SDK. Again, that is separate from EasyBuilder, but readily available. It requires a separate key. And now that I have gone out and I've gone into Visual Basic and I've grabbed the display control sample, I'm going to execute it. And as soon as I do, I'm going to now have to go back out and link to it so you can see it. One moment. There we go. There's the display control sample running in Visual Basic. It's a tool that we configured for you, and now you can take that. You can put in an address of a camera. I'm going to put in the IP address of my Insight Micro 1400 that's also here in my office. Say connect. You can see it's asking me right now, I've got that camera connected to my Vision View system here in the office. It's asking me is that really what I'm going to do, because by doing that I'm going to throw the Vision View off, but yes, this is what I want to do. Now it's going out and it's connecting, and you can see that I have connected to the Insight Micro 1400 here in my office. This looks just like we were connected through Insight Explorer. You can see the spreadsheet in the foreground and the graphics and image in the background. And I can choose what data I want to see. So in this case, I'm going to click on the Show Grid checkbox here. And now you can see I'm displaying the image and the graphics. These are the tools that are set up. The green, of course, means the job is passed. I could take the graphics off. There is just the raw image data from the camera. This tool you could then import into other third-party or custom applications. We have the Vision View system now, which utilizes the same basic principle, but there are third-party groups out there that do the same. So you can show the grid, and you can see these grids are actually active, so I can actually go out and I can change them. Just as if I were connected to the camera using Insight Explorer. So with that, I'm going to go out of Display Control Sample. And we are back now. I'm going to put on Insight Explorer. There it is. There you go. You can see now we're back in Insight Explorer. And that is the end of my little presentation here. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well, thank you for attending this session. We will have another session next Friday. One of my colleagues will be handling that for you. And please remember that at any time, once the session is complete, you can go on cognex.com and download a recording of the session, as well as the previous sessions. And here in the next few weeks, we'll have the entire course online for you. But we still would like to see you face-to-face here in Duluth or in our office in Novi, Michigan, or in Natick, Mass. And have a great weekend. Thank you for attending.